Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Drama Time podcast. I'm your host, Pieman, and I'm here with Michael and Alibi. Today, we're having a very controversial guest, to say the least, on Mrgirl, who is most famous for defending the movie Cuties and making a song called I'm a Pedophile, which he's been pretty open about. He's pretty open about being a pedophile. There's a lot of discussion about whether he's just trolling or not. He's been pretty adamant in defending it, and it'll be a very interesting guest to have him on. So let's bring him in. Hello, Mrgirl.
Hey,
Welcome.
it's drama time.
So do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Mrgirl.
Want to tell us a bit
what
about
else?
yourself?
Okay.
Sure. I have a YouTube channel that's focused on discussing sensitive social issues, and the goal of it is to try to get people to empathize with each other and themselves.
Interesting.
Yeah. I have seen quite a few of your political videos. They're quite well made.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's definitely well done, and your camera quality and your cinematography is one of the best I've seen on a YouTube channel.
Well, I appreciate that.
And yeah, it has gotten quite overshadowed by your numerous other controversies, but I just want to say, that is quite good.
Well, thank you.
Yes. I just want to say I don't actually, think you're a pedophile. I think it's, a big troll to get more
Hey,
clicks from
right back
Kiwi
at you, buddy.
Farms people.
Right back at you.
Yeah. So
A troll. Wait. The Cuties review is not a troll, though. No, that's not true. If that's what you're implying.
well, no, I don't think that. I think that it's over-exaggerated to get more clicks, though. Some of the things in it.
I think that it's easier to think that in hindsight, but you got to understand that this was like 3 years after I started my YouTube channel. I'd already made another video about pedophilia. I'd made video I'd touched on a lot of pretty sensitive topics, and at that point, I think I was kind of coming to the understanding that if my channel is going to grow, I have no idea when or how that's going to happen. And so I'd kind of gotten accustomed to making videos for a pretty small audience of people who already were well acquainted with me. So I think more so, I mean, I'm not saying I would have done anything different, but I don't think I'm as focused on getting clicks or trying to get views as it may seem based on that review.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead first.
I was just gonna say that like the jokes in the review are more meant to acknowledge the weirdness and uncomfortableness of what I'm saying, more than they are meant to like. So like I did not think that "Look at the Blonde One" would be like a particularly provocative statement, because to me it seems like it's obviously a joke, but that is something that people definitely like latched onto. So
Yes.
I did not predict that this was going to happen. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yes. Well, I think a lot of people didn't think it was a joke because of how you defended it quite harshly and stuff. Like, I think in Critical's video he talks about how you were on the kill stream after, and we're defending it quite a lot, and that's why he thought
Defending my review.
Yeah, and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people say that I defended Cuties, but I wouldn't say that that is true. What are we talking? Do you want to talk about the Cuties review? Is that what we're doing right now?
Well, I was thinking we'll talk about that first, and then maybe then we'll go through things. So, in the Cuties review, you said that the 11-year-olds in the movie is supposed to turn you on, and I think you said it did. Is that what you said?
I believe what I said is that the movie attempts to make the 11-year-olds hot, and that it's pretty good at that.
So it made you think that the 11-year-olds were hot.
I'm not trying to make a statement about my own opinions of the children in the movie, and I'm definitely not trying to make a statement about that to some more children. So I'll just say that the point of the review is that the film is trying to make you view these young children as though they're older, and that's like a big theme of the movie, is that they're trying to be older and trying to be seen by men as if they are older, and that it's trying to put you in the uncomfortable position of looking at a young child the way that you would somebody older.
Let's see. Diesel Patches said in his video that he noted that you didn't remember details of the movie, which he believes strengthens the belief that you watched it only for the children. What do you think about what Diesel said?
I think that people like Diesel Patches have a. I mean, it's like a funny thing to say, I guess. I don't think that he really understands pedophilia or what he's talking about, and I don't think he's trying to really make a serious statement with that. I assume that's more just like a dig, and it is funny. I mean, I think I did get a detail wrong. I said the girl's cousin was her father or something. That's more just because I didn't understand what was going on, as I sometimes don't.
Yes. So you don't think, just clarifying again, you don't think that the girls in that movie were hot?
I think that my review stands on its own in terms of my own personal thoughts or feelings. And again, I'm not trying to get into, like, you could ask me if I think Sandra Bullock is hot right now, and I'm not going to answer it. I'm not going to talk about who I think is hot or don't think is hot,
Yes.
or really anything about my sexuality with children, because I think it is weird. I understand that, like, you're trying to host a show, and that the topic of my sexuality is like a public thing. But I honestly, partly just out of concern for you, like, I think it would be weird to talk about that with you.
Yes. So the video is gone now, and I know that your channel was gone for quite a bit, and it was back.
Back missing one very important crown jewel. I know.
Yes, missing one. So was that video the one that got your channel taken down, or why was your channel taken down?
So the Cuties review got taken down 3 times and then reinstated the next day 3 times in a row. So that was it started in like October. Down? I don't know. It just said it violated our terms of service. I don't think they even told me what rule it broke. My sense is that it just
would have flagged it. So
yeah. So my sense is that it got so many flags that, like, the auto mod just takes it down at a certain point, and then a human reviews it and puts it back up. And then it gets taken down and put back up, taken down and put back up. And I think what happened is that happened to my entire channel. I think that because the channel got taken down for pornography. So I think people know that if you get enough pornography flags, that is the only thing I think that causes YouTube to auto delete your entire channel. And then I appealed. They rejected my appeal. I appealed on Twitter. They rejected my Twitter appeal. I started a new channel, just kind of moved on. And then 3.5 months later, I got an email and it was like, oh, hey, we know you may be upset by this, but actually we were wrong and your channel is fine. And here it is. We did remove this one video, though.
Yes. So they kept that Cuties review down.
They did.
Yeah. So that,
I think another thing I want to say about the Cuties review is that I watched this. This is probably the video I spent the least time on out of any video I've ever made. So I just watched the movie, sat down, recorded it, and posted it, I think the same day. And so again, I feel like in hindsight, it's easier to think that it is this, like, carefully crafted thing. And I'm not saying this to say don't stand by it. I love the Cuties review. I stand by every word in it. It's like the best movie review ever. But I don't. It's not the carefully orchestrated thing that I think some people think it is.
Yes, because you did make a comment about The Last of Us 2 in it, which I also think, it's quite obviously, a little joke thing, but
But I really
Yeah,
do love The Last of Us 2. I don't know if you saw
yeah,
my
and then
review of The Last
Critical
of Us 2.
said that's why he thought you were trolling about the whole thing and trying to get people upset because of that. Because obviously, a lot of people don't like The Last of Us 2.
That's again, it's more just like um I want to acknowledge that the people some people who are listening to what I'm saying are going to think it's insane and think I'm a horrible person and think I'm a pedophile or whatever. So that's more just me acknowledging that like I understand that what I'm saying is making you hate me and sort of making a joke really at my own expense. I'm not really trying to piss people off when I say kind of like The Last of Us 2. It just popped into my head that that is literally what I like about The Last of Us 2 is that it's forcing you to do something that you think is bad and wrong and feel bad and weird about. And I think Cuties is kind of a similarly uncomfortable experience.
Yes. So, with your now, I think pretty we've covered that topic quite well. With your one of your most recent videos is, of course, the song titled "I'm a Pedophile," which many people don't know what that actually is. It's a parody song of "I'm a Criminal" by Eminem.
You know what? I
Where,
want to call it a sequel. It's a sequel to Eminem's Criminal because Criminal itself is already kind of a parody song.
yes. Well, it's sort of
It's a
it sort of has
spiritual
the
sequel.
same message in a way
Right.
because the original song is people are overreacting to Eminem and saying that he's a horrible person stuff and encouraging people to commit crimes and then he wasn't actually that, so he made a song over exaggerating everything, and I feel you tried to do the same thing with this and
I would say more
pedophilia.
than tried, Pie Man. I would say I
Yes,
did
you,
the
you
same
you
thing.
succeeded.
Yes, I did.
Yes.
Thank you.
um so there's a few other controversies. I think I've seen a few videos talking and your video about your opinion on rape and consent. That's
Yes.
gotten quite a bit of controversy. So what are what's can you explain the controversy behind your stance on that?
Let me tell you something about women, kid. No, I think that my view. So I think that there's a very straightforward, clear-cut way that people talk about consent, particularly with high school kids and college kids. I'm sure you're hearing about this now, where yes means yes, no means no, and what's a continuous enthusiastic consent, and basically proceed with extreme caution. And I think that in doing so, you lose a lot of the nuance of interpersonal reactions. So I think there are times when people say yes, but they mean no. People say no, but they mean yes. People say I don't know, but they mean yes. People say maybe, but they mean no. It's much more confusing than I think we acknowledge it is. And I don't think that even really changes as you get. I would say it gets. I would think it gets a little easier as you get older because people are more aware of what they want to do and are kind of better at expressing it. But I think
Yes.
that encouraging a more complex and empathetic, um, more intimate way of discussing consent, I think would be better. I do think that
Well,
the legal standard should stay where it is. I'm not saying that you're going to find like 12 psychologists to be put on a jury to like discuss the legality of things. I'm more talking about I think that if you get charged with rape and convicted, you probably went way beyond kind of the gray area I'm talking about. I'm more talking about
yes.
the ethical gray area of you may not have broken the law, but you might leave someone feeling traumatized or leave yourself feeling traumatized, and it's a confusing mess. I think, and
Well,
I think that's kind of message a lot of my channel is this just that
yes.
this thing that we have defined as simple is not.
Well, one thing I have to ask you is if yes doesn't always mean yes and no doesn't always mean no, then how do you know when yes is yes or yes is no? Because if none of that is
You don't.
exactly clear, then shouldn't you just stick to the yes is yes, no is no thing to be safe? Because isn't it better?
To be legal, to
Um,
be legally safe, yes.
well, I'm
To
not
be
just saying
ethical,
legally. I'm
I don't
saying
know.
I'm saying ethically, isn't it better to just stay on the safe side and only do something with explicit consent rather than go in that gray area when you don't know for sure, even if there may be small benefits. I just don't think
I
it
don't
should
think
be
so.
worth
Okay,
it.
okay. Well, it may not be worth it legally, but I think interpersonally it may be. So let's say you have a friend, a guy friend, right? And he's crying because his parent just died, and he's
Mhm.
crying, and you see him crying, and you're like, "Hey, man, do you want to talk about it?" He says no. I think it may be worth asking a follow up, like, "Are you sure?" Or even throwing, putting something out there, like, I know when my blah 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 died, it was really just
Yeah,
you
but I
might
think
just
it's a
do it
bit
anyway.
different. I think that's a bit different than sexual things, which is
I see. I don't.
where
I don't know
consent
that
is
it. I
more.
don't. I don't think it is. I also think that if you say to your friend, "Hey, do you want to go to this party?" and they say, "Oh yeah, yeah, that sounds great," you might say, "Well, it doesn't seem like you do, so let's just not." So, my point is that I think that yes, legally, it's better to cover your ass. In the world of Twitter accusations, for sure, you want to have a screenshot of them saying yes or no or whatever. I think in the world of like interpersonal, like the real world, um, I think that I guess I would say I have had more success with trying to read between the lines and not necessarily unilaterally acting on whatever it is I think I've read, but certainly making um, the understanding the context, the way the person is speaking to me, the way they're interacting with me, um, part of my assessment of what is happening.
Hmm.
The other thing I talk about in the video is that you don't even know how you feel. All you can do
What
is
do you
guess.
mean?
I mean that sexual situations are confusing. Yeah,
Um,
everyone has conflict. Some
they
part
may
of
be,
you,
but I think it's safer to it not guessed and only do
but
something if you 100%
yeah,
know.
what I'm saying is, my thesis is that you cannot 100% know what you or what anyone else is feeling about this or about anything.
Hmm. Um. So, one, I think we've covered that again quite well. Once you were arrested for suspicion of being a school shooter, what happened there? Because that's sounds pretty interesting. I've
Thank
heard a
you.
bit about that.
Thank you.
So what happened
Um,
there?
the Virginia Tech shooting happened when I was 22. And the next day, my college professor asked the class what we thought of the shooting. And this was the end of the semester, and I was already kind of known for saying provocative things in the class and elsewhere. And
Yes, you're quite well
everyone,
known for that now.
yes, and everyone was saying, I can't imagine why anyone would ever do this. Oh my God, virtue signaling. The term did not exist then, but the practice did. So everyone is weepily saying that they would never shoot anybody. They can't imagine why anybody would do such a thing. All this. So I finally just said, um, I was actually writing an article that I was going to publish in the class, and the first sentence was, "Anyone who says they never thought about shooting 32 people is lying." And so I just raised my
I
hand.
haven't thought of that.
And so, therefore, if you go by the premise, you are lying. So I raised my hand and I said that. And
I guess it's an interesting opinion. I'm sure many people who especially have hatred towards other members of your class or the school have thought of that. And I'm not saying if you've thought of it, that means you're going to do it. Obviously, many people think of things they would never do, but many
some people
people,
do things without thinking of them.
yes, but many people, including me, haven't thought of killing everyone in my class.
Well, it's more of a metaphorical statement. I'm not saying literally everyone has thought about killing exactly 32 people or exactly at school. My point is that everybody has thoughts that are violent, that are angry, that are hateful. Maybe you've thought about sending a mean tweet to somebody, pushing an old lady down the stairs for no reason, punching someone in the face who's wronged you, stabbing someone to death in an alley, whatever your thoughts are. Everyone has had fleeting, disturbing thoughts
Yes,
enough
I do
so that
agree. Yeah.
okay, so enough so that when you hear someone has robbed a bank, you don't say, why would anybody do such a thing? I don't understand that. Do you understand that?
I don't think that's
No, I don't
exact.
understand that at all. So,
I think
but yeah,
there's a
let me
difference.
let me emphasize that the reason people announce that they do not understand school shooters in a classroom is because they want to announce to the classroom that they themselves are not a school shooter, much the way John Swan and his ilk would like to announce that he is not a pedophile by calling you a pedophile, etc. And this is just what people do. And it infuriates me. At the time when we need to be the most introspective, at the time when the most helpful thing we can do to keep students safe in school is to understand why people do this, because if we don't understand it, we're not going to be able to stop it. So, in a very irritated, I was very angry, and I said, everybody's thought about shooting 32 people. We live in a society where our favorite pastimes are playing video games where we shoot each other, watching people chase a ball on a field and slam into each other and break each other's bones. We watch movies where people shoot and murder each other, and there are our favorite things. We live in a society that is fueled by thoughts of violence. So to sit here and claim that you cannot fathom violence is completely absurd.
But I think when people say I can't understand why someone would shoot up a school, they're not saying that I can't understand why they would have those thoughts. The reason why people ask how did this come to happen is many people think of those sort of things, but almost no one even considers carrying them out. And school shooters and people who rob banks and things like that. Obviously, I think robbing banks is a lot more to do with money and stuff. But school shootings, it's about why they actually chose to carry out those actions when almost no one does.
So I think part of my premise was, and I've not really thought about this till now, is what if a school shooting is not when you have something inside you that no one else has that's growing? Like, this is kind of our current narrative, right? Like you have something inside you that's growing, it's this rage, and then it bursts out of you. What if what if we all already have that? What if we all already have a wolf that's on the end of a leash and carrying out a shooting or a
But what
murder?
makes them let go of that leash?
Exactly.
That's the
So I think
questions
if
that
I
people are saying.
but I
People
think
aren't
if you
saying,
frame
"I
it,
can't imagine this."
I'm back.
They're not trying to say they're not a school shooter. I think they're just trying to say, why did they let go of that leash when almost no one does? That's the question they're trying to say.
I don't think that most people would agree as readily as you just did that it's possible that school shooting is an act that is already spring loaded into most of us, and that we have to have inhibitions to prevent us from doing horrible, violent things to each other. I don't agree with you. I think that that's a question you're asking, but I think most people are not smart enough or maybe have a strong enough stomach to think of it as to think of themselves as um, more similar to a school shooter. I think that people really want to distance themselves. I mean, if you look at the Twitter conversations about the recent shootings, they are all like, "Oh, it's a white person and he's doing it because he's racist." And then if it's not a white person, it's like, "Well, fuck you. Usually it is a white person. Fuck you." Like,
Yeah, I do
there's
think.
really not a lot
Yeah,
of thoughtful
definitely.
conversation about this. So my
I do
professor
agree.
asked me if I have ever thought of carrying out a mass shooting, and I said, thought about it or considered it, and she said both. And I said, I think everyone's thought about it. I've never considered it. No. She said, she said everybody, and now everybody's worried you're going to come to class and shoot them on Thursday. And I said, I'm not going to come to class and shoot everybody on Thursday. And she said, or any day. And I said, or any day.
Yes,
And then
I
she
guess
said,
the vague language can be misconstrued by people, especially because people take things so black and white literally in society. People, when they think, I've thought about this, they automatically think, well, I'm going to do this, because there isn't much nuance with that conversation.
I think there's an understanding that we're not going to have a nuanced conversation about certain topics. And if you do, so I'll say this, 99% of people who are like, hey, so what do you think like really happened in the Holocaust? They're not really asking that. Most people, and I think this is true, because of the social like contract we have to not have these nuanced conversations. Most people, when they pretend they're being nuanced, are really trying to cover up something else that they're saying. I think it would be better to just take those people at face value and talk with them, because otherwise we've outlawed nuanced conversations, which is basically what we've done, which I think is a problem, especially when you're trying to solve something complicated like rape or school shootings or pedophilia. If you're trying to address any of these issues and you can't have a complex conversation about it without getting called whatever the thing is that you're talking about, I think it really holds us back from preventing these things from happening.
So last of all, you were arrested in 2020 for making a Reddit comment. What was that about?
I was not arrested. I was detained. I was
Detained.
I was doing like
Okay.
I was doing it was just a 20-minute thing. I was talking about I think I was doing an AMA about the getting arrested, and somebody said something like, is that professor on your list, or is that professor on your kill list now, or something like that? And I said, yes, I've been making a kill list for the last 14 years and it has 25,000 people on it. Now I just need some high capacity magazines.
Yeah, I definitely think getting arrested over a Reddit comment like that is a bit silly. Many people, I've been a Redditor for quite a while, and I've seen much worse things on the site.
For sure. Yeah, so that's the thing, is it's not like I don't there's something about me that people really hate, and it moves them to do things like flag my channel 5,000 times for pornography, to call the police on me, whatever.
Well, I think the reason why you get a lot of hate is because people unironically think that you're a pedophile.
I don't think so. There's a lot of pedophiles on YouTube that they don't get nearly as much hate as I do.
Who?
In fact, there's like channels that are just maps talking about why it should be legal to fuck kids.
Well, I think you get more hate because, you got more attention about it. I mean, there's not really any map channels which have the same amount of notoriety or.
But why? Why does mine? Why do I deserve so much attention?
Because your Cuties review, which many people viewed as you admitting to being a pedophile. I don't think that is true, but that's
man, you've gone through the same thing. How do you? Well, you can't tell, why do you think you got so much attention?
Well, because of a few reasons. First of all, I was, in the commentary community, and a lot of channels and a lot of, large Twitter accounts went after me that time. But what I'm saying is,
why did they do that? That's my question. What about you makes them want to do that? And so I see a bit of myself in you. No. I hate to tell you.
Well,
I think that.
But what I'm saying is, you get more attention because you got more attention because your video blew up, because you were talking about a controversial topic at the time, and then your video became sort of the go-to thing for reaction channels and commentary channels to attack, because when they were attacking Cuties, they sort of needed a person or something to attack for that. And I think that's the reason why you got more hate than map channels, because those channels
more hate than the director.
I don't think that's true. I think the director got
from
more
from the reaction channels.
Not from the reaction channels.
So then why do I get more hate than the person who made the movie?
Because reaction channels and those sort of things, they need a video to react to. You had a video which they could easily direct their hate to, and they did that.
And you could react to Cuties. Cuties is a video to react to.
Yes, but they don't want to react to the movie Cuties. A lot of those sort of channels, they like, hating on someone or criticizing someone, and many times that hate is definitely needed. And with your one, they needed a person to direct their criticism towards, and they directed it towards you because you were
See,
an easy target.
I don't quite agree. I think that it's a similar thing to a mass shooting. I think that the wolf is already hungry, and all they're doing is letting it off the leash. And why they let it off at you, in much the same way that they let it off at me, albeit on a smaller scale, although not that much of a smaller scale. I think, to me, it's that I think what you said was too nuanced and confusing. More nuanced than most people are ever willing to be, especially about this topic.
Yes.
I think that because when you say something nuanced about sex, really anything about sex, you're telling people that their labels and the boxes they put themselves into, which almost everybody puts themselves into: normal, safe, fine, everything's fine, please don't, I don't want the wolf to eat me, I'm fine, dude. As soon as you say something nuanced, the other person has to either agree that those walls that they've built around themselves may not actually exist in the way that they want them to, in a way that's going to protect them from having to think about this.
Yes.
Or they can say, well, let's just lump you in with whatever. And they have more hate for you than they have for someone who is actually a child molester. I think because of what you're implying about them. Can we agree that none of this has anything to do with child welfare, right? Nobody cares about the actresses in Cuties. Nobody cares about the 12-year-old girl that you were talking about. Nobody gives a shit about these kids. You think they do?
I don't think so. I think people do care about the children involved, and a lot of people during the discussion of that movie were talking about the kids involved.
Yeah.
And how they were being, and how that's not
it funny
a good idea for
the thing that the one time that they're talking about child welfare is also the time that they're going to make the most money. Well, I mean, is it a coincidence that Moist Critical is making a video that is going to get like 10 million views or whatever?
Moist Critical makes like a video every day. It was just a interesting discussion point, and it was, a lot of people were talking about it at the time, so it was a, something to make a video.
No, but what if you made a video about child slavery every day?
Well, he doesn't make a video.
Or child sex trafficking.
Well, that's not what he does. He just talks about like whatever's on his mind every day.
Yes, but he talks about whatever he thinks is going to be entertaining every day.
Yes. And
money.
It was pretty
It's about money, right?
Well, it's not just about money, but that's definitely, a point in it. But also, many people, I mean, these commentary channels weren't the reason why Cuties was getting a lot of hate. Obviously, they made it into a bigger thing than it would have been without them. But originally, a lot of the discussion was on Twitter and, Reddit and those sort of things where people don't make money off talking about it. So I didn't think it was all about money.
I'm not saying all the hate is about money. I think most of the hate is about wanting a target and virtue signaling. I think less than 5% of the hate is about concern for the welfare of the actresses and Cuties.
I wouldn't take a view that cynical. I don't think that people are always, thinking about that. Obviously, people weren't thinking about it that nuanced. Whether it needed a nuanced take or not, but I don't think that people weren't that concerned with the actual welfare of the children. Now, I just want to say, is there anything you want to say first before we get into some of the callers?
By the way, fucking SQ wants to be added in first, he says.
No, I'm adding Blair TV in first. She's been DMing me about getting in this or not.
Is there anything I want to say? I think you're letting so people always tell me I'm naive, and that I see too much humanity in the people who are attacking me. And you're calling me cynical, which is weird. So either you're super naive, or I've become jaded, or maybe both. But I
What I
think you're
said is
letting.
that what I said is that thinking that people aren't actually concerned with the children in the movie Cuties, like
Yeah,
most
yeah,
people
I
are
understand.
saying,
I
is
I
a bit
understand what you're
cynical.
saying. I get why you're saying that's cynical. Do you get why I'm saying that thinking that John Swan or Moist Critical or any of these people who have quite a bit of influence and who I've never seen use that influence to help a child when it didn't involve hurting someone else and making themselves look better in the process, do you at least understand why I don't think that concern for children is driving their actions? And that I think you're letting them off the hook a little easy.
Well, maybe for some of the people making money off this, but remember, a lot of the discussion around it was by people who didn't make money off it.
There's lots of, I mean, yeah, my classmates didn't make any money by saying that that I'm a psychopath, but I don't think that they did that because for some altruistic reason, because they're trying to help people.
Well, I don't think talking about anything, just saying, "Oh, this is bad," is really helping anyone. They're more expressing their disgust at the movie itself. Just to talk
I
about
think
how something is bad doesn't always have to be stopping that bad thing from happening in the first place, or that.
no, it doesn't have to be, but I think that if you really were driven by concern for child welfare, you could have a conversation and you could put out a video that might actually make things better for people. And I see now, I think that you're being cynical. I think that you can help people by talking.
Perhaps in an indirect way. Well, then, I guess Critical could have been helping it in a way,
Maybe.
if it's talking about it. Okay. I think we're going to get into some callers now because people have been, bugging me about it for a while. I guess we'll get
A-Star?
Blair TV in first. She's been talking to me about wanting to talk to Mrgirl for a while.
That's
Blair TV, you're on the air.
Fuck, I guess I'm here now.
Yeah.
Hello, Blair.
welcome.
We made it last.
Cough.
Alright, pretty surreal, so...
Blair TV, could you please put your mic up a little louder?
Oh, sorry, yeah, sorry. Still kinda new to this whole thing.
Take your time.
Alright.
I'm not afraid of silence.
Alright, so I'm gonna, I guess, well, been watching the stream since it started, and well, first of all, I guess, because I'm kind of the one who's kind of just been researching Cuties, researching again like the film, the production.
You're up to your ears in Cuties.
Yeah, pretty much, but
I understand.
yeah.
I know how you feel.
And I kinda, in my notes for the essay or doc or whatever, I referred to you as the final boss, essentially.
Well, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so
Wait, the director isn't the final boss? I am?
I guess because I'm going in sequential order
Damn.
from production to.
I feel like I'm like Goro and she's like Shang Tsung.
Yeah.
So I may be like the big boss, but I'm not the final boss.
Oh, I guess my main question is, ooh, I took like a lot of notes. I guess there were a lot of, you said this before, but that Cuties video was intentionally genuine, right? Like everything you
Yes.
said, aside from the more obviously framed stuff. So.
Right. So yeah, I think, I mean, maybe it's not obvious, but I think that anytime I'm zooming in, saying I'm watching it over and over again, saying look at the blonde one, those things are jokes. But the more sincere things, or what I hope are obviously sincere, I mean, like if I'm making it satire, I'm not going to just ramble for 24 minutes. Like I'm rambling because I'm like figuring out what I'm thinking about the movie as I'm talking. So yes, the Cuties review is sincere.
yeah, the zooming. I think
It's
it
a
would,
helpful visual guide.
and I guess uncomfortably honest is the best way to describe it, like you said. And well,
Yes.
I think well, I did not prepare myself for this, to be honest. But
It would be
essentially,
impossible to prepare yourself for this.
well, my first well, I guess my first the first thing is your thesis heavily revolved around the fact that the film is actually, now that I look back on it, you did actually condemn it, but essentially, one thing I'd like to say is what exactly do you think about the outrage your video created? I know Pyman kind of touched on this, but I'd like to hear a bit more.
I think that there's two things that really upset people. One is that I am implying, by not defining myself as a pedophile, I'm implying that it is possible for adults, normal adults, to be attracted to people who are under 18 or 16, whatever the age of consent is in your local jurisdiction that people have decided you're a
Yeah,
demon
18.
if you, yeah, yeah. So one is I'm implying that it is normal for an adult to experience fleeting attraction or otherwise to minors. That is part of just normal life that everybody experiences from time to time. Or more broadly, that everybody has feelings that or urges to do things that are illegal or that they shouldn't do, that are immoral or weird or uncomfortable or whatever. And I think the second thing, the thing that really bothers people, and see, Pyman did a better job of handling this, because if I had said afterward, like, listen, I feel so fucked up about this. It's so weird that I said that. I don't know what I was thinking. Why do I feel this way? These feelings are so uncomfortable for me. Instead, I smirkingly and smugly literally cocked my head and was just like, and I am perfectly comfortable with the fact that I feel this way, and I'm comfortable with you feeling this way. It really just doesn't bother me at all. I think that is really what people are horrified by, and why people are saying that I am trying to normalize pedophilia.
So yeah, I'm now looking back, and especially after watching the beginning of this whole podcast, because I actually never really got to seeing your video in its actuality. I just kind of saw the waves of outrage it created,
Have you seen my video?
and I just watched it a few hours ago, and
Nice.
well, yeah, and my God, so one thing I do contest that you said earlier in this podcast is the fact that, well, I think the reason why they thought you were trying to normalize. They thought you were trying to normalize pedophilia, like the film was doing that. And then, well, the film kind of was. There's this whole thing. I think Hunter Avalon goes more in depth into it. But yeah, people are saying the film's trying to normalize it, and you were pretty much the face of the film, and that kind of let everything not only spill out onto the film, but all the way onto you.
Yeah. I don't think I was
At
trying
least
to
to me.
normalize. I don't think. See, I think that that's something that people conflate with my channel, is they conflate accepting the darker parts of yourself, like so the parts that want to shoot your classmates, or the parts that want to like rape people or murder people or whatever. Conflating accepting that those parts of you exist and that it's like okay that they're there, conflating that with saying that therefore I should be allowed to do those things, and it's fine to do those things, and they should be legal actually. The idea that I want America or the world to be like a playground where I get to act on whatever horrible impulse I have at any given moment, and everyone just has to deal with it, is really weird. But I think people have an idea that shame, internal shame or external shame, holds things together, and I really don't agree with that. And so I think that's a big kind of rift between me and the Cuties criticizers.
Yeah, when when I first saw the film, I didn't have any thoughts. I more just gaped at how disgusting I found everything. Uh, well, so I guess actually haven't fully done all the research, but did you ever attempt to like legitimately defend the film on Twitter, or did you just
I don't.
defend it
I
on your own?
I don't think I defended it even in the video. I think my stance
Yeah.
was, it's unethical to make this film with children. It is artistically interesting, but it's unethical. I think it would have been better if it had been made. I mean, my moral
With
stance
adults,
on the
yeah.
film, yeah, you should make it with
Well, do you think
adults.
it
You
should
should
have-
make it.
The documentary.
I was
The
gonna say, do you think
documentary.
it
Yeah,
should have been
documentary.
made with animation?
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
said that in the video too. Animated with adults or documentary. Those are the ethical
Yeah.
ways to
Yeah,
make the
that
film.
would be
How,
fair.
however,
Or yeah.
would be less effective if you did so. So, and I'm not saying that's a reason to put children in this situation, because I still think it's wrong and you shouldn't do it. But it's true that she made a more powerful film by doing something unethical, and I think that's interesting and worth talking about. And I don't think saying that the movie came out pretty good as a movie, I don't think saying that is really defending the morality of it. Lots of good movies are made immorally, and lots of bad movies are made morally. I think that but even the suggestion that you could talk about those separately, I think is really upsetting to a lot of people.
Well, yeah.
Do you have any other
Yeah, actually.
questions, Blair TV?
Do I have any other questions? Actually, I don't think I have any more. I just.
You can always
I
message
just...
me on Twitter or tweet at me if you have a follow up later. I got you.
All right, thanks, man. I'll probably DM you when I begin working on the whole video thing. Well, see
All right,
ya.
sounds
I'll
like
see
a
you
plan.
guys
Okay.
Later, Blair.
later.
Can we add an S key?
So yeah. Okay, let's add an S key.
S key, you're on the air.
All right, welcome, Mesky. You're on the air.
Esky, we're live.
Oh shit!
Esky?
Sorry, I had to
There
turn
we
push
go.
the on. You know what? I just want to say straight off the bat that this is an insane interaction. Okay, we got Pie Man and Mrgirl. Is that correct?
Yeah,
So 2 pedophiles in one call.
I
That's
know it's
insane.
crazy.
Yeah, I know it's crazy. And I just
We've
want to
managed
say, Pie Man.
not talk about 12-year-olds at all.
I know that's insane. I thought you guys would have bring up anything. My question goes to both of you. Mrgirl, have you spoken to Alicia David Smith, age 12, at her family home on 24 Dunstan Street recently? And Pie Man, have you groomed Cinti Pop recently? They're my 2 questions.
Okay,
the
now
answer
get out
to
of here.
okay. The answer to your question, at least for me, is no. I mean, do you want to answer?
No.
Does the man
Well, I
just
think
dox
it was a
someone on
joke.
stream?
Okay.
It seems like it.
Let's bring in Faraway Phantom.
I think it was a
Faraway
fake
Phantom, you're on the
address.
air. Faraway
Hello?
Phantom, you have 5 seconds to respond, or
He's muted. He's
bring in the
muted.
next caller. Oh, no, he's not
Did
muted.
you-
He muted himself.
Unmute yourself, bro.
Unmute yourself, Faraway Phantom.
Come on, you Jew.
Okay, too late. Too late.
Okay.
Okay, never
Jesus.
mind.
Oh,
let's
what's with the
bring in-
anti-Semitic remarks, man? Oh, cool it with that.
Okay. Let's bring in A Star now. A Star, you're on the air.
Hello. How's everybody doing? How you doing, Mr. Girl?
Pretty good. How are you, man?
I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. I just want to know, like, what's in store for us for more content? Are you doing any more parodies or any more songs?
So yeah, a few people have asked me to make another song, so I'm definitely jotting down some rhymes. I'm working on. So I think I'm gonna do another professor video. I made a video called the Black Lives Matter narrative, where I like dressed up as a professor and gave like a really long slideshow, and people liked it. So I think I'm gonna do another one, and I'm thinking about either doing something about like the pedophile obsession that everybody has with calling each other pedophiles. This John Swan thing really got under my skin. You're not really engaging with me talking about it, Pie Man, but man, it really fucking pisses me off. So that or the way people think and talk about trans people, I think is another big rift, something I would like to explore. And I was also thinking of making a video about how older people hate younger people and why. So those are the three I'm kind of juggling right now.
All right, sounds interesting. Well, I won't take too much time. Thank you for having me on. And looks like Arliss is in callers. I'll leave you guys to the rest of the stream. Take care, guys.
You too.
Thanks.
Well,
for
thanks.
coming
It was great to meet you. He's got like a fucking radio voice, right?
on. Yeah.
Yeah,
doesn't
for
it?
sure.
He's a
Yeah.
pro.
Wanna bring in
Let's
Arliss?
drag in
Yeah.
Cobra or
A
Arliss.
star endorsed by Mr. Girl.
Hello, hello.
Arliss, you're on the air. Okay.
Cobra, you're on the
Yeah,
air.
on the air.
Welcome.
I just want to say hello, Mr. Girl. Like, really huge fan of your content. Like,
Well, thank
honestly,
you.
yeah, I believe it is. So
I
I
appreciate
watched,
that.
I watched the entire of Cuties, but like before I watched your review, because I didn't want to like spoil it.
Yeah.
And I watched it all, and I thought it was quite like I'm not a pedophile. I thought it was quite a good, artistic piece. Looking
How
for
old are you?
creative. I'm 17. I was looking at it and thinking this is quite like a good creative story. I don't know if you thought the
Yeah,
same, but yeah, it was,
I did.
you
I
know,
thought the actors are really good. Like all the
Yeah.
acting's good, the cinematography is good, everything's good.
Yeah, and the dancing was like decent.
Amazing.
For how,
Was
for like
fucking amazing.
yeah, like for how young they were as well.
No,
like,
it was
the
good.
moves, but yeah, it was,
Although, you know what? In reality, those girls are, I think, 12, 13, and 14. So they're not actually 11.
no, it's
So you could expect a 14-year-old to be better at acting than an 11-year-old, I think. But either way, it's still pretty impressive.
yeah. I mean, anyway, just a huge fan. I just want to come in and say that.
Well, shit, I appreciate it.
Yeah, just keep doing what you're doing, man. Keep proving those haters wrong.
Yes,
You have a
you
good
know,
one,
they're not
man.
always wrong, but I'll do my best.
Keep proving those haters wrong, man.
Okay,
Thank
okay,
you.
fuck, I'll fucking prove them wrong. Jesus.
Okay. Oh, and by the way, with the John Swan thing, we can talk. I can talk to you about that if you want after.
I
we
hate
bring
this
some- The
motherfucker.
rest of the callers.
I hate John Swan. It's not Steven Crowder level, but it's like I'm having a pretty strong reaction to it, which I feel bad about because he's 19, right? He's 19, right?
I think so.
He's like basically like a kid still. Like he's a teenager, but like he's got the power. I think the accountability equation is like age times power and then what you do with it, and it really bothers me. But yes, go ahead. Go on.
Yeah. Yeah. So we can talk about that more if you want after some more callers. So let's bring in Andres or Andre, however you. pronounce this.
Andres.
Andres.
They're
You're muted.
You're muted.
Yeah, I have
Andres.
that push to talk on for some reason.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you for having me here. Mr. Girl.
yes.
So I've been watching this whole stream, right? And a lot of the stuff,
Yeah.
like the Reddit post and the one about punching old ladies. I don't know if I'm getting like trolled right now or something, but are you being serious about that?
No. Yeah. You ever ride like a subway, and like you're waiting for the subway, and there's somebody standing in front of you, and they're like looking at their phone, they're like checking Facebook, and you're like, what if I just liquefied you? What if I just pushed you in front of this train and you just turn into a big like splat? You never have that?
No, but okay. One more
Well, you're the
question.
weirdo. Let me. Okay, you are the weird
Okay,
one.
yeah.
Okay, go ahead. What's your next question?
I have another question, right? Have you watched the Joker movie?
Yes.
Makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me here. I
Just that I've
appreciate it.
watched it. That was the only question.
Yeah.
Is if I watched it.
That's the only question you
Yeah.
have for the amazing Mr. Girl.
Yeah.
If I
that's about
watched it,
Yeah. Oh, actually, did you enjoy it? Actually.
I did. I thought it was a little clunky though. There was a few things in it that were just like the dialogue like wasn't great, or like it didn't look that good, and it was like almost a really good movie. But I did like it, and it did speak to me. It speaks to, I think, coming out. just as whatever you are, being yourself. I think it's a movie about being yourself, even if everybody thinks you're a freak. And yeah, I think you should watch it over and over again. That's trolling, but
Okay.
everything else I said I meant.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me here. I appreciate it.
Shit's
Everyone here,
pants.
have a good day.
I appreciate
you.
your questions.
Thanks. See ya.
You too.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Let's see. We'll bring in Mayhem.
Want to move in Mayhem? Oh,
Yeah.
I should have said an escalator. That might have been more relatable.
Okay. Yes. Okay, let's bring in Saucy.
we have a
We're not gonna
lot of
bring in
new
too-
people in this VC.
Yeah. We're not gonna bring in too much callers after this unless it's, someone we know.
Yeah.
You have any questions, Saucy?
Sauce.
Yes, you're on the air, Saucy.
Alright, hello. Hello, Mr. Girl.
Hello.
So you have any questions?
Oh, we're just gonna sit.
I
and we're gonna
said-
just
I-
take it in for a second. Oh yeah, what? Do you have a
I
question?
have a few questions, but I hate having to adjust to push to talk. I quite literally just
Oh.
deleted one of them in my notepad because of it.
Can you control
Okay.
Z? Can you get that back?
Alright. Alright, I think I'll start be able to remember the question. Alright, so do you think Cuties could have been handled better film-wise, or did it get its point across?
Okay, if the point, you know what? I've never thought about this till right now. If it had gone further and been more upsetting, it might have actually gotten less flack, because as it is kind of in a weird area where it's like, what am I supposed to think about this? I don't like there's like the sudden close-ups on their butts, and then you're like, well, that's kind of weird. Like, so is that the point? But then the other, like, half of the movie is just like a normal movie, and you're like, okay, so I guess that's not the point. And then it does it again, and you're like, okay, you're like fucking with me, right? Like, you're intentionally fucking with me. I think if the movie had been more satirical, the movie is also a bit humorless. I think some humor and some exaggerated satire, and preferably done not with real children. I think those things, if you had an animated, really screwed up movie with hypersexual dancing little girls, that could have got the point across, could have been funny, and people probably would have liked it. And some people would still get offended, but it wouldn't be like, you wouldn't worry that you're like harming a child by watching it. So
I mean, I don't remember seeing that many like lewd scenes when I sat down and watched it, because I wanted to like, give Jay Aubrey a 2 cents on what I thought about it, because he made a video
Yeah.
on it, and
you don't have to
probably
have an
saw
excuse
that.
for watching Cuties, man. We've all watched it. It's okay.
Yeah.
I
Well,
feel like that's
We do a little
probably
grooming.
like just the best way someone could have imagined it.
Wait, what is?
Okay.
Okay, Saucy, do you have anything else to say, or should I bring
Okay.
in another call?
All right. I'm
Oh my fucking god, man.
I'm
You have
typing
5
Z too
seconds.
fucking I'm typing Z too fucking much in notepads. I'm sorry. All right. So second question: what made you get the idea for I'm a
Yo.
pedophile?
A friend of mine. He was like, dude, if you did criminal, but I'm a pedophile. And I was like, oh, he was like, don't do it. I'm telling you not to do it. It would be funny, but please don't do this. I care about you. I love you. I don't want you to get hurt. And I was like, well, I'm pretty sure I'm going to do it. He was like, do not do this. This is a terrible idea. I wish I literally, as soon as I said it, I wish I could take it back. Please don't do this. And I was like, I love you, but I have to do this. This is my destiny now. We both know that I'm going to do this. And so I did.
Good job.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Third question: can you name
Last question
how?
as well.
Okay, fair. Can you name
Oh.
how many other times you were arrested or were contacted by police due to something online?
I think we've discussed all of them, except there was one. Well, I've interacted with the police three other times. Once a guy chased me through a park with a knife, and I ran to the police station. They arrested him, and he went to jail. He was like homeless or something, and crazy. Another time, my neighbors called the police on me because my girlfriend was slamming a Swiffer into the floor as hard as she could repeatedly, and our neighbors thought they were gunshots.
Jesus
And
Christ.
yes, and it was so loud that I knew they were going to think there were gunshots, which is a weird thought to have. And then I was like, the police are going to be on their way. And she was like, really? And I was like, mm-hmm.
I
Yes,
want
really.
I want to imagine like the police and usually like give the excuse it was just like, come on man, it was just a fucking Swiffer.
Yeah, like we opened the door and like literally 8 police officers just like rushed into the apartment, like looking around. It was fucking crazy. But what they just left after. They were like, if you guys are gonna like fight that much, you should probably like spend a night at a hotel or something, because like don't do that. And the last time was I handed out a satirical newsletter that said I had ingested rat poison before handing it out, because I was like, this is my final newsletter, and I wrote a newsletter about death. But like almost all my newsletters were jokes and satire, and everybody knew that. So I was not intending for anybody to think I was actually killing myself. However, campus police surrounded me, and they were like, "Did you eat rat poison?" And they like had their hands on their tasers, and I was like, "No." They're like, "Are you sure?" And I was like, "I'm positive." And this cop was like, "I'm gonna believe you, but if you die, it's gonna haunt me for the rest of my life." And I was like, "I'm not going to die. I didn't eat any poison. I promise." And she was like, "Okay, I believe you." That was the only other time.
Well, Saucy, thank you for coming on.
No problem.
Thank you for answering questions.
It was nice to meet
I have
you.
a question. A-Star, who was a caller from before, said that he has a question from the Kino Corner. He asks, will Cuties be seen as a French Kino, on par with the 400 Blows and Alhazard Balthazar?
I don't think it's good enough. I think Cuties is, if you took away the controversy, Cuties is like, it's like better than average. It's a pretty solid movie. I would say solid is a good word for Cuties. I don't think it's going to be really influential or remembered. It combines things in an interesting way, but I don't think it really invented anything.
Well, yeah, it's interesting. So Faraway Phantom was on before, but he didn't have any questions prepared. So, and he'll be our last caller, I think. Faraway Phantom, have any questions?
Okay, if it doesn't answer in like the okay. If he doesn't answer in like the next
I
5
have to
seconds.
just for push to talk because you guys are stupid and.
Shut up. Shut up, Michael. No one likes you. You're cringe.
You're gay.
Fuck
I'm
you.
kidding.
Eat a dick.
Okay, Faraway Phantom, you have any questions?
Yeah. Okay. So.
Oh.
All right. So.
Oh.
I liked the video that the girl made. The whole.
We can't really hear
It was
you.
really good. It was really funny.
Well, we can't hear you. Say it again. Say it again.
Okay. So I was
Say
saying.
it louder.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we
Hello?
can hear you now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I wanted to say I really liked the song that you made. It was really funny. I don't know if it was completely satirical or not, but it was really funny. Anyways,
Thank you.
I wanted to ask.
I do actually play
I wanted-
Smash Brothers.
Okay, so a lot of people earlier in the chat were like getting kind of pissed off at what you were saying. I was trying to like reason a little bit, and I think let me try to confirm or deny this. Were you basically trying to say like you can want to understand what drives a person to do something evil or bad, but
No, I'm saying that it's
doesn't mean-
already inside you.
Oh, it's already there. Like
It's
inside you?
already there,
an
coiled up like a
instinctual
fucking
urge?
rattlesnake. Yeah. I mean, I think humans have evolved to kill each other and rape each other. Rape is really obvious because you're literally forcing someone to like breed with you. So I think a lot of animals rape each other. But humans have also evolved to kill each other. Like that. Like, isn't that why there's no other humanoid animals on Earth? Because we fucking killed them all.
Yeah. So, on top of that, I guess I was trying to say, are you trying to say that like you understand that people could have those urges, but it's not really justified if they act on them? Is that what you're kind of trying to say?
I don't want. Well, justified is like a moral thing. Like, I don't think we need external morality to answer your question. I don't want to live in a society where it's legal to murder
That egg.
people. And I think most people don't want that. So I think we've all agreed, almost, or maybe every society, murder is illegal. And I think that's a good thing.
Okay, so yeah, unless
You know?
do you have much more
Like,
time?
laws, we only need laws to stop us from doing things that we want to do. Like, it's
mean-
legal to drink bleach, right? Because drinking bleach sucks. Nobody wants to do it. You don't need a law outlawing it. It's not legal to do heroin
I mean, but
because
there's
people
also
like doing
things
heroin.
that I think people just inherently don't want to do because they can like empathize with other people.
Yeah, I mean, like, then why is, if we're just so empathetic, then why is theft and murder and assault, why are those all, why do we have to constantly arrest people for doing those things and put them in jail?
It's because, you know, they're pushed to a certain point where they feel like they need to do it, and it's probably not justified realistically to most people in society, but to them in their own mind, they kind of justify it because on their own individual like level, they feel like they need to do it in order to feel fulfilled. Like they need to, maybe they even need to, maybe they need to steal some food or they're gonna starve. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Faraway Phantom,
Okay.
by the way, after this, we're gonna bring in just Arliss again because he wanted to say something else.
That's cool.
Okay, here's a weird question. How many murders happen in the US every year? You know? Murders per year in US. 19,000 homicides. Okay. What percentage of people who actively fantasize about murdering somebody do you think actually do it? And this is like a fantasy, like, I have a plan, I'm seriously considering doing this. What percentage of people do you think actually go through with it, if you just had to guess?
Probably like way less than 1%, to be honest.
Okay, so if we have about 19,000 actual murders, and we multiply 19,000 by, we'll say 1%, so we're going to multiply that by 100, that gives us 1.9 million people per year actively fantasizing and planning a murder. And that's 1 in 150 Americans. And we're not even
I mean,
just
you
talking
do have
about
someone in chat saying they fantasize about murder, but I've never gone through with it and never will. So
yeah. I mean, even just mathematically, even by your own standards, and I think we're being pretty gracious here with even giving it 1%. It's probably less than 1%. We're ending up with 2 million active murder plots per year. And then if you take that, and it's like, what percentage of people who want to kill someone at all or have a fleeting thought actually go to an active murder plot? You're going to end up with a number that's almost the entire US population pretty soon if you keep asking questions like this. So I think even just statistically, you can sort of prove that murderous thoughts are pretty normal. They're not normal to share, that is for sure. But I think having them is part of just being human for most people.
Faraway Phantom, thank you for coming on.
Okay. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming.
Let's bring in Arliss again. Arliss, you're on the air.
Hello. Yeah, I needed another question because obviously, you know, we were talking about Cuties before, and you know the impact it had. Have you heard of like the Mars situation, Mrgirl?
The what situation?
The Mars situation.
No, what's that?
You what? What'd you say?
No, what's that? What is it?
My balls.
oh my lord, we do a little trolling.
I see. Did everyone know that he was going to say that?
No,
I didn't. I especially didn't.
Okay.
That makes me feel better.
Mayhem, and then we'll stop the cause. Mayhem, you're on the air.
Hold on, let me mute. I have you guys open in another tab. So, hello everybody. Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, how are you? So, anyways, so I've been hearing you talk about your theories on your theories, your ideas about like this, your subconscious impulses. You sound
Yeah.
like a Freudian. You sound like a Freudian. So
You know, my grandfather was a psychologist and my father is a psychologist.
that makes
So
a lot of sense to me.
that could be part of why that is.
So, because what you're describing, like, I'm not an expert, I'm a fucking idiot, but like what you're describing kind of sounds like the impulses you're talking about is like
The id, the ego, and the super
id,
ego.
yeah, the id, the ego, and the super ego. Exactly. So, just want to tie in your statements about your weird impulses and about pedophilia. Can you give us your thoughts on the Oedipus complex?
Yeah, I was in I was in a college class. I was in a philosophy class, and the teacher was talking about the Oedipus complex, and she was like, Freud had some really weird ideas about sexuality. And I raised my hand and I was like, I think Freud didn't describe like human sexuality perfectly, but he perfectly described my sexuality. And she thought that was like really
Can
funny,
you
and
please,
everybody was
can
like
you,
super weirded out.
sorry, can I just confirm that you just admitted that you were attracted to your mother as a child?
Actually, well, yeah, when I was really young, yeah, and it's definitely planted some very weird, dark seeds in my brain. But when I was 16, my mother kicked me out of my house
Oh,
to go
that's
live with my
unfortunate.
father. It is. When I confronted her about this at age 25, she told me that it was partly because she was sexually attracted to me and afraid for me.
Well, that is certainly
Wow.
a statement.
So you can imagine if you have to cope with the knowledge. Also, I already knew that. That's the other disturbing thing, is that I already knew she was sexually attracted to me, and I was they call it covert incest, but I was completely repulsed by her. I'd say up until I was like 12, I wanted to have sex with her, and then after I was 12, I wanted to be as far away from her as physically possible at all times. So
Mhm.
you could
I need to go
describe
for
that
like
as
5 minutes, so rest of you can keep
me
the
too.
podcast going.
No, I got it, Pie Man. I'll take over.
Thanks.
It's fine. Yeah. So I think being exposed to such like disturbing ideas as a child, and the idea that like people can want things and it can affect you what they're thinking even if they don't know they're thinking it, or it's like this just disturbing like psychological mess of
Mhm.
ideas. And having that kind of like schema for understanding it, like you were saying, the Freudian way of viewing things, I think that
Yeah.
has definitely informed how I view other people for sure. It does occasionally make me think like, what if my family is just really, really fucked up, and now I think like people are fucked up, but they're not really. But then like I see other people and I'm like, no, I think everybody's fucked up. I think my family's particularly fucked up and particularly open about being fucked up in some ways, and really bad at handling it. Like I haven't spoken to either of my parents in many years. I haven't spoken to my mother since she said that. I was like, I
That's
really,
understandable.
yeah, like I really don't. It almost felt like I don't think being attracted to your kid is on some level, at the id level, as you would say, that unusual for some people or many people. I think telling them that is a pretty abusive relationship destroying thing to do.
Yeah.
So it was like I don't see how we're ever going to have another normal interaction after this, and I don't,
Yeah.
and I just like hate you, so I stopped talking to her.
All right. Well,
Okay.
that was my question.
There's your answer.
That was my answer.
That's a pretty
Well,
thorough
Interesting
answer.
yeah,
Thank
it
you.
was. Jesus Christ. All right. I'm heading out now. Jesus.
Okay, see ya.
Yeah. I understand.
So, Mr. Girl, do you have anything you want to discuss with us, or anything you want to share your thoughts with?
Jonathan fucking Swan.
Okay.
That's what I want to
What do
discuss.
you-
Part of it's
what do you wanna
part of
discuss
it,
about it?
obviously. What?
What do
I want
you
to talk
wanna
about my
discuss
feelings. I want to talk about my feelings. I'm angry. I'm very angry about this because I identify with you, obviously. Like that's part of it, but it's like it's so much worse. Like I bring this shit on myself. Like we all know that, right? Like I can't complain that people think I'm a pedophile or that they hate me because it's 100% my fault. Like I know what I'm saying and I know what the effect it's going to have. What happened to you is not your fault, like literally in any way. Like you didn't know what was happening, and then you got like suckered into being vulnerable with someone who was just trying to trick you to get screenshots so he can fucking exploit you. It's like it's like sexual harassment. It's like evil. It's wrong. It's really horrible. I feel the combination of how self-righteous he is with how unethical what he did to you is like really disturbing to me. And it's weird that like YouTube as a platform is like okay with that, but they're not okay with I don't know, whatever stupid shit they're not okay with. It's yeah, I just feel like you really got screwed over. It's really, really unfair, and I hate that he just escaped with no accountability whatsoever.
Okay, I just want to say, even though you identify with me, I just want to say I don't feel the same way back much.
You don't identify with me.
Yeah, not that much, but
You think we're different.
yeah, a bit.
How so?
Well, like you said, it's different situations. You were quite provocative in wanting to
yeah.
start that discussion, whereas
Yes,
this
and
was,
you did not.
I mean,
You
I
were
didn't
not
see
interested in starting the discussion.
Yeah, I didn't see much of what makes us similar or whatever. I didn't really see it much.
I don't mean that you and well, I think that you are interested in making thoughtful, nuanced content, and that you don't shy away from controversial topics. And I also think that the reason that people attacked you is a similar reason of just so again, I agree that I brought it on myself and you didn't, but which makes it worse for you, which I think is partly why I'm more mad about it happening to you. Watching people try to make themselves look normal by attacking you, that is something I identify with, and I agree. I bring it on myself, but it's still have a pretty visceral reaction to it.
Okay. I think this podcast has been going quite well, and I think we've just about done here. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we're just about done here. I think this podcast.
This has been probably the most productive
actual
podcast we've had, because other podcasts we just slack in certain areas and we're just unprofessional, but the discussion that everybody had with the discussion that we had overall, even with the callers, was in my personal opinion pretty productive.
Yeah,
So.
I think we need to bring on more controversial figures
I think it's better.
We should.
I think it's
Who's
better.
next? Alex Jones.
For some reason, I think it's always better
wish.
if we have guests on. It's always better if we have guests on. That's when we're most productive.
Yes.
So
For sure.
You got to bring your A game
all the time.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on, Mr. Girl. You've been
Thanks for having me.
Very interesting guest.
I appreciate that.
And we're all looking forward to what videos and projects you are going to do in the future.
And I look
check
forward to
out
yours
Mr.
as well.
Girl on YouTube and Patreon and whatever you're on. I'll link it in a pinned comment.
Oh, I thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay.
See ya.
See you later.
See ya.